This is Brother Jamal coming to you live here on my YouTube channel. If you would like to know when we are keeping the loop with us, dropping videos, just hit the subscribe button, and that'll let you know when we're getting ready to drop something, and you'll get a chance to get it firsthand and check it out first. So this video we're going to do and just talk about a few things, and just talk about a few things. The last couple of videos we've been doing has kind of been talk and advice, and this is kind of on the same line. Inshallah, we're getting ready to start doing a series of videos on the New World Order. Inshallah, we'll be starting that soon. We're just kind of finishing up on some research and reading and just getting all of our stuff together. So we want to lay these videos down real good on the New World Order. We did some before, but this is going to be some more extensive into the New Order, and kind of starting off with the history. Not tonight, inshallah, not tonight, but inshallah in the days, weeks to come, we'll start a series of videos on the New World Order, and we'll begin with the history of that, because you need to know the history in order to understand the workings of the New World Order today. You need to know the history of how this thing began, who some of the players are, and all that. So inshallah, we'll be doing it. Tonight we wanted to kind of just bring you a segment on something that is going on. It relates to the history of then and now. I'm sure most of you probably saw now about the young man who was a member of the Black Life Movement in Louisville, Kentucky, the same place, the same city where they murdered Brenda Taylor, Miss Taylor at, and also this young man was murdered in Louisville, Kentucky. It's not unusual to see people who are involved in the movement and something happens to them. That's not unusual. We've seen this all through history, and so it's nothing unusual about today's time. What they started doing in today's time is especially when it relates to black men, usually they will come back with suicide, something on that line, to make it look like whatever this black man was doing, it caused him to be, like I said, they'll declare suicide, or they'll claim they can't find the ones who murdered him. Something on that lines. They always have all this stuff is already set up, y'all. Anytime anybody is involved in the movement, especially in this movement that's going on, has been going on against injustice, and so strong and powerful like it has been, and especially with so many young people involved in the movement, young nationality of people all across the spectrum. And so it's not unusual to see black men being murdered and then they classify it as something else. For example, the history in St. Louis, Missouri, not so much St. Louis, but Ferguson, Missouri, when they had the uprising in Ferguson. So many of those, I know at least 4 young black men who was murdered mysteriously, unusual circumstances, unusual situation how they were murdered in Ferguson, Missouri during the uprising. That if you go back and Google Ferguson, Missouri, you'll see where there was a number of black men who, one particular situation, this sister found her son, he was hanging from a tree in her backyard. They was involved in the Ferguson uprising. Another brother, I think his last name was Seals, he was found, his car set on fire, and he had been shot in his car. So it's not unusual to see these situations happen in the movement, especially brothers who are involved in the movement. This brother in Louisville, Kentucky, from my understanding, he was involved in the Louisville uprising there against Miss Taylor, who was murdered in Louisville, Kentucky. He was one of those people that was involved in the movement. So it's not unusual to see black men murdered, and then they come with some unusual situation or circumstances about their murder. So I just want to say that once again, the young brother who was murdered in Louisville, Kentucky, who also was involved in the Louisville uprising there, protest movement, all of that, it's not unusual to see them come back and really try to defame his character and his whole the movement that he was involved in, just like they did in Ferguson, Missouri. Same thing with those black men there. They try to defame their character and all of that. Let me also say too, oftentimes in these situations, they have people that do this kind of dirt. They have people that they can use to murder and do these kind of things. This is not unusual. Like I said, they have people that they pay people. They have people that's on their payroll. They have the snitches, the informers. They have all of these people. They specifically send them to take care of black, especially when it comes to black men, to take care of them and take their life, and to make it look like it was an accident, or make it look like it was some kind of altercation that they was into with somebody, something stemming from something else, has nothing to do with the situation, circumstances, but that's how they play it off. So it's not unusual. And the other thing is too, sometime in these situations, they can find black folks to do this kind of stuff. It ain't always the authorities. It ain't always white people to do this. Sometimes they can find some of our own people to do their dirt, because we have snitches and we have agents, we have informers, we have people among us that do the same thing as the other people do. So don't never rule that out. Don't never rule it out that black people don't be involved in this. Look, let me give you some history. A point of interest. A point that you need to seriously think about, reflect on, and just go through your mind and process it. During the time when our people were kidnapped from Africa, I use the word kidnapped because they did not voluntarily come here on their own. During the time of the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century, when millions of black people were kidnapped from Africa, how do you think they were able to go in there and kidnap all those black people? 1.2 million of black people that was kidnapped from the continent and brought here and put in slavery. Do you not know that they had some Africans in those African countries who were helping them, who were working with them? Those invaders were not able to just go in there and do what they did, kidnap millions of African people, enslave them, and then bring them to America. They weren't able to do that without having some help inside. So I'm saying today's time, when you see these kind of situations happen with our people, whether it's in Louisville, Kentucky, where a brother was murdered, or in Ferguson, Missouri, where some brothers were murdered, they have people in those areas oftentimes that help them, that carry out these kind of things. Believe me, they do. They have that. Just wanted to share that with you. On the discussion that I wanted to bring to you is extremely important. And I mentioned this on my last video. I want to strongly emphasize it again. It is increasingly important that we teach our young people about what has happened in the past as it relates to history. because everything in today's time, it has an origins that goes back and traces back to history. Just what we talk about now. This is why I gave the example of history. The example I gave was when the invaders went in and kidnapped millions of Africans out of the African countries they kidnapped them out of. The point of history and the reference point is they had help from some of the Africans to round up and kidnap million some black people and bring them here to the shores of America. They had help from inside. This is why it's important that young people, we need to teach our youth about history, because everything in today's time, it has a beginning point which carries us back to history. It has a beginning point. It's important that we explain this to our young people. Look, 1.2 million people, African people, were kidnapped from Africa and brought here 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century, was brought here as slaves, 1.2 million. This is why they talk about 1619, because that was one of the biggest voids of African people who were brought here at that particular time from Africa to America. 1.2 million, the 1619, the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century. There was a large exodus of people that were brought here from Africa. 1.2 million. See? And the point of history that we make reference to is that they had help from people inside Africa. See? Some of the African people helped them. You know, like we have seen all through history. We need to relate these stories to our youth. We need to share these stories with our youth. We can't be about the business of being shamed or saying, well, that was a long time ago. It doesn't have anything to do. Everything in today's time, everything in today's period, everything today in 2020, it has a beginning that relates to now the present day, 2020. And it's called history. Even if we want to escape it, we cannot escape it because we are tied to history. From the beginning to the end, we are tied to history. And there's no other way to get around it. So we need to share these stories with our youth. And if we don't know about what has happened, we need to get somebody that know the truth, speak the truth for them, not make up no lies, not make up no fantasies, not make up no good stories because we don't want to tell them the truth, but get someone to speak the raw truth about what has happened and the sojourn that our people have made from the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century to this point right today. See, they need to understand that. So I just wanted to share that with you. And inshallah, we'll work on that and try to, encourage people. And look, wherever you may be located at, we ask you to please share this video. If you are in the East Coast or West Coast or South or Midwest, wherever, it doesn't make any difference. History is history. And we, like I said, oftentimes if we don't know it, we need to find out. We need to read and study and get this insane notion out of your mind that history is not important in today's time. Yes, it is important. See? Yes, it is important. It's extremely important. History is the beginning point. And I want to say this again. I want to emphasize this again, strongly emphasize this. During the 15th, 16th, 17th, 18th, 19th century, the majority of Africans who came to the shores of America, the majority of them were Muslims. Go back and check your information, check your research. The majority of them that came to America were Muslims. After they got here, and put through the tremendous amount of suffering and torture and just cruelty. So many of them submitted and changed their religion, changed their names, changed their religion, started eating pork. But before that, when they came here, they were Muslims. This is a point of history. We need to tell our young people the truth about history. No lies, no making up stories. Not sure about what happened, not sure about. If you're not sure about it, you don't know, don't even open your mouth. Just be quiet and try to read and study. But at least tell the truth to the youth about history and what has happened. Most of these present day books they have, they usually tell a lie and they don't tell the truth about what happened. So you need to get some books that really tell the truth about history. You know, really tell the truth. You need to get some books. So once again, we encourage you to share this video. If you'd like to leave us some comments, ask some questions, please do, and we'll try to respond back to those. Once again, this is Brother Jamal. I wanted to bring you this video, November the 30th, 2020. A little bit of talk and a little bit of advice.